so I thought it would be fun to make a video featuring cars that aren't as original as some may think. Badge engineering, as some people call it, has been around for some time now. Essentially, it allows an auto manufacturer to take an already existing platform, tweak it, and make it their own. Well, kind of. Because some manufacturers don't even try to make it their own, they just take it and just slap their own badge on it. Of course, I expect most car enthusiasts to be familiar with the rebadged cars that I decided to include on this video, but for non-car people, you're in for a big surprise. First car on the list is the Chevy SS. First things first, this car here is one hell of a sleeper. It may just look like an ordinary lifeless Chevy Malibu when you see it on the road, but what you get is far from it. It started its life as a Holden Commodore and then rebadged and brought over to the United States as the Chevy SS from 2014 to 2017. The SS is essentially a complete copy and paste of the Commodore. The only thing really differentiating them is the badging, of course. And speaking about badging, I find it very funny that you can actually go on the Chevy's official website under accessories for the SS and you can literally purchase Holden emblems for $250. I gotta say, that would be a great way to keep people guessing here in the United States as to what car you're driving. That said, the performance package you get with the SS is something only car enthusiasts can really appreciate. It comes equipped with a powerful, naturally aspirated 6.2 liter LS3 V8 that produces 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque, and it sends all that power to the rear wheels. 0 to 60 is achieved in just 4.5 seconds, and when you think it couldn't get any better, well, it can. It comes equipped with a traditional 6-speed manual. What's not to like? Over 400 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated, stick shift, all packaged in a low-profile family sedan that nobody expects to be fast. It's definitely a rare breed, especially in the modern era, and it's a shame that they aren't produced no more. Sadly, it just didn't sell well. It flew under the radar, and that could be for several reasons. Price point, which started at over $40,000, no advertisement from Chevy because honestly they really didn't care about the SS and was just fulfilling an agreement with GM Australia. And of course, because of the industry shift to more fuel-efficient vehicles. Even though you can't find them new anymore, you can buy them used for much less than when they were first released. Not only will you get a family car with straight raw performance, but you also get handy features for it that can assist you with daily driving, like heated and ventilated seats, a heads-up display, blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, rear park assist, and Chevy's awesome magnetic ride control, which adjusts based on the surface you're driving on. And if you want to take it to the track, then go for it. It's track-ready tuned and comes standard with Brembo brakes on all 4 wheels. Second car is the Subaru BRZ. So this one here is a bit tricky, as some would say the BRZ is just a rebadged Toyota GT86 or Scion FRS, while others will say vice versa. I ultimately decided to classify the BRZ as the one that did the rebadging, since Toyota first came up with the concept and then brought it over to Subaru in a way to get them to work together on a new sports car. Result was probably one of the best joint collaborations between two auto manufacturers. An affordable rear-wheel drive front-engine sports car that is not an MX-5. Sure, one of its drawbacks heard by many car guys is the underwhelming lack of power coming from Subaru's 2-liter boxer engine. It only manages to produce 205 horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque. But see, what many fail to realize is straight-line performance is not what Subaru and Toyota wanted from it, but more so having an emphasis on handling. And let me tell you, from a person that has personally driven both the FRS and BRZ, these cars are more fun to drive than some of the more powerful sports cars out there, especially on twisty roads. The main difference between the BRZ and the GT86 is the front end, the suspension tuning, and the emblems. Other than that, they're pretty much identical. Same platform, same flat 4 engine, and even the interior are very alike. And for those that are not aware, the BRZ, the GT86, and FRS all came out as 2013 models. The GT86 was not sold in the US, and it wasn't until Toyota decided to close the curtains on the Scion brand that they reintroduced the triplet as just the 86 in 2017. I figured I'd clarify that for those that may find all the models a bit confusing. That said, the BRZ is a pretty sweet car no matter how bad people talk about it. For the price, there's not really much more you can get out of it. If you're in the market for one, I'd recommend the facelift version from years 2017 and up, mainly because you can get it with the performance package that features specially tuned shocks, Brembo brakes, and wider aluminum wheels and tires. I know I was a little unfair to the BRZ in the past on one of my older videos for its lack of performance, but for what it's worth, we are lucky to have such an affordable, nimble sports car in today's market. I mean, 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds isn't too slow, or is it? What do you guys think? The third rebadged car is a Dodge Stealth. Manufactured from 19 1991 to 1996, the Americans and the Japanese came together and created this bad boy. Essentially, the Stealth was nothing more than a restyled Mitsubishi 3000 GT. You see, back in the 90s, this was very common practice for manufacturers to collab and make two similar cars since the industry was so competitive. Just like the 3000 GT, the Stealth had multiple trims to choose from, which include the base model that carried a 3-liter V6 that only produced 164 horsepower, to the cream of the crop RT twin turbo model, which featured an all-wheel drive system, all-wheel steering, and performance that was seen as insane at the time. The RT turbo engine produced 300 horsepower and 307 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happened in around 5 seconds, and keep this in mind, this was back in the 90s. That goes to show you how ahead of their time both the Stealth and the 3000 GT were. This car definitely fulfilled what Dodge wanted it to be, a sporty and quick sports car, and just when you thought things couldn't get any better, in 1994 the Stealth RT Turbo received a pretty sweet makeover, which included a 6-speed manual which replaced the 5-speed, upgraded brakes, 18-inch wheels, and 20 horsepower bump. And yes, I'm mainly talking about the RT Turbo model because in my opinion that was the only one that was really worth buying. Whether it was on a straight line or around the track, the Stealth did not disappoint. The combination of its 2-mode suspension, 4-wheel steering, and 0.33 drag coefficient made this car one of the best performers at the time. Sure, the exterior design wasn't very innovative, mainly due to the partnership between Mitsubishi and Dodge. I mean, it was literally built in the same factory in Japan as the 3000 GT. Either way, it was a solid partnership, and the Stealth ended up being a sports coupe that combined the best of what each manufacturer had to offer. Which one would you prefer, the Dodge Stealth RT Turbo or the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4? The fourth car on the list is the Chrysler Crossfire. It first made an appearance as a show car in 2001 before launching in 2004. While it may not seem like it, this car is more European than one might think. It shares most of its design with the Mercedes-Benz SLK. At the time, Chrysler was combining forces with the Mercedes from 1990s to the late 2000s, so something like this was bound to happen. Yikes, what a combo. Makes me wonder which team of two would Scotty Kilmer hate more, Chrysler with Fiat or with Mercedes? Compared to some of the others featured on this video, the Crossfire and SLK are not exactly twins, but you can definitely see the resemblance. The interior, mainly from the vents down, look very similar, except that the Crossfire has a much cheaper finish with this odd silver coloring to the center console. But at a starting price of $10,000 less than the SLK, what do you expect? Both the transmission and the engine the Crossfire carries is pulled directly from the SLK 320. It's a 3.2-liter V6 that produces 215 horsepower and 229 pound-feet of torque. Not exactly impressive for such a heavy car, but if you wanted more power, there was an SRT6 version available with a supercharger that increased the power to 330 horsepower. Now that's more like it. This was definitely a bizarre and interesting car at the time, and surprisingly outsold its competitors during the first year. It sold around 36,000 units, which was more than both the BMW Z4 and Audi TT. I know some may question those two luxury cars as Chrysler's competitor, but see, the Crossfire has quite a bit of Mercedes in there. You can pretty much call it a bargain SLK. If you're interested in one, well, you can get them in two different flavors with either a fixed roof or fabric top convertible, and both come included with massive heavy wheels. Fifth and final rebadged car on the list is the Opel GT. And no, we are not talking about the iconic GT that existed from 1968 to 1973. Opel actually decided to do things a little bit different this time around. They took their well-named GT nameplate, slapped it on a Saturn Sky, which is based off the Pontiac Solstice. The only major changes the Opel GT received involved the badging, just like every other car featured on this video, the taillights, and the grille trim. Back then, many praised the Opel GT and Saturn Sky as they stood out in what was one of the most exciting classes. Its rear-wheel drive has a wide stance, long hood, has an interesting shape many actually thought was pretty cool, and while it didn't appear to be fast, it actually kind of was. It comes equipped with a 2.2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine that produces 264 horsepower, which helped the GT sprint from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Weight distribution is spot on, which is expected from a rear-wheel drive front-engine car. There is something special about this car. I remember in my young teenage years seeing a Saturn Sky for the first time and thinking it was a must-have car. I mean, I don't quite feel the same now as I did before, but it's definitely very unique. Even though the Opel GT was built in the US at Wilmington, Delaware, along with its other siblings, I never got to see one in person since it wasn't really sold here in the US, but honestly, seeing the Sky and the Solstice was close enough. I'm glad Opel decided to continue the tradition of the first Opel GT, but was it the right way to do it by rebadging an already existing car? I don't know. Either way, the reintroduced Opel GT nameplate did not last very long because by 2010, Saturn and Pontiac pretty much reached the end of the road as brands, which ultimately led to the end of the Opel GT. I'm curious to know how many of the cars on this list that you already know were rebadged. Let me know in the comment section below. I really do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure and like it. It normally takes me like 15 to 20 hours to complete one of these videos, and liking them makes a huge positive impact on my channel, and it's free to do, so just like it. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, that way you don't miss out on my next video. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.